Hi everyone, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin Up. I am from Ohio and I'm here to bring you a idea using the pastel chalks that we have. And I know there's been a lot of ideas out there and I'm just kind of adding to that because I have a lot of people that would like to know about it in my other videos, so I did that. Here are two cards that I did. We're not going to be doing this one tonight because it takes so much coloring. I want to do something just a little bit simpler. This is called Poppin' Pastels, and this is using your pastels with a watercolor brush. And this is an old one. I don't have the new ones because I have so many of these. I've just been using these from Stampin' Up. But before we get started, I just want to tell you that I do have a June host code, which is SPYQED9G. If you do order from me on my website, I would appreciate if you could use that. It'll be up for the rest of the month. I have a Facebook group called Stamp Crazy VIP where I do videos every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. And I put my PDFs out there. And this week I'm going to be showing two techniques. So I did two different, it gives you all what you need for the cards and a picture of the cards, so that if you do print them off, you'll have those for your files. So anyway, I do have that, and if you don't mind sharing, would you hit the share button for me, please? And you can give me a thumbs up if you like my video. You can give me a thumbs down if you don't. But please comment in the comments and tell me what I can do to perfect the video. I would love to hear from you on that. I'm getting my scrap piece of paper ready. Did you see that flop out on my thing? So I'm going to do our Poppin' Pastel cards first. And here are our pastels. They come in a box like this, and they're sticks. And the colors we have here are Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, Gorgeous Grape, Mossy Meadow, Coastal Cabana, Greeny Apple Green, and Night of Navy. The Night of Navy, I'm sorry, that wasn't in the camera really well, but you saw the ends of the sticks. This one is not really as dark as Night of Navy. It's not as bright as Pacific Point, but it goes with either one of them, so that's a good thing. So anyway, I am going to show you how to do this card first, and then we're going to do another card where I'm going to color with the watercolor pen, but it's not going to be this card. I just am going to ad-lib a little bit with you tonight, if that's okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. And I actually just had one of my customers tell me, because I don't always watch YouTube videos, but she told me of a technique, because you need to scrape. You need to do this with chalk dust. And how we get chalk dust is we scrape the colors here. And what I did before is I just colored like this till I got chalk dust, but someone had showed on their video to take the end of your pick tool, and this one has my little tool on it for the die cuts. But anyway, just scrape and make dust, and just get you a lot of dust out there. Get that ready for my card. So I'm going to go ahead and put me some purple dust, and I want some green dust. So we'll put some green dust right here. Get it going. I feel like I'm trying to start a fire. And you can use the end of it too and just get dust. So either way, you're going to get dust. And then I'm going to put some yellow dust out there for my centers. So let's just There we go. If we need more, we can always add more, right? That's one good thing about all of that stuff. So I'm going to lay my card over here for a second. I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus because I already have this big stamp, which is the Blossoms in Bloom. I'm using this big stamp right here and the leaves on this card. So that's what we're going to use. And I put it in the Stamparatus just because I think it's easier to use like that. Let me pull my magnets off of the back. Just try not to put them close together. They don't like to be next to each other. They're like your kids. You get two of them close together, they want to fight. Well, that's kind of like what these magnets want to do. So I'm going to bring this into about right here, I do believe, is where I want it. We'll see. Let's go ahead and add our magnets to this side. And I'll bring this down. Now let me bring this paper down just a hair. Maybe like that. And there we go. That looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad, and you want to make sure that your Versamark is got a lot of ink in it, so you might want to refill it. I did mine because I wanted it to really be able to hold a lot of ink for me to do this. And I'm just going to bring this down and lay it on my card. I'm going to put that back up now that I don't have to be there. And I'm going to rub really, really good. You can press, rub, but you want to get that image on there really good, because that's what's going to hold your chalk, okay? This technique's called Stampin Pastels, and it's a really old technique. I know I taught this probably 15 to 20 years ago, which was really pretty cool. Then you get to bring it back. So I have that stamped. I don't need to use this anymore. See if my magnets can be good little guys and not try to kill each other. So we're going to put them up for a minute. And I'm going to bring in that scrap piece of paper I just tore out of my pad over here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, I use finger daubers for this, so let me find my, oh, I see it, it's over here, my purple one. And I can kind of see where my flowers are to kind of start this. So I'm going to dab that in my flowers, and I'm going to actually start dabbing this around my flower edges, because I want to get a good solid image on my flower. And then I'm going to bring it around and you can, I sometimes actually dot them, because then I can see where I am a lot better. And you want to use your chalk dust as much as you can. And you do not have to worry about setting this dust, because what, as you can see, I'm rubbing this into the paper. And as I'm rubbing that in, your paper is going to absorb the dust, okay? And it won't absorb any more dust than what it can hold in the fibers. So you want to just dab that on there, and then just kind of take it, whoops, if I can get a hold of it, And I'm going to shake a little bit of that off, like so. And because that's on there, I can actually rub and get a lot of that extra off. And you can leave the shadows on there if you want to. If you don't like the looks of the shadows on there, all you need to do is take a white eraser, and then I just kind of clean that up around there. And in my centers, because I want my yellow in there. And as you can see, we're not really, there's no Versamark in there, but you can still use your chalks in there. It won't hurt it. So I've cleaned that up to where I like it a little bit better than being so much shaded around there. Makes my flowers pop a little bit more. So let's get that off of there. I'm going to bring in my yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and do my yellow because I'm going to swirl that around. And that'll just add some texture to my flowers in the center. Make it so you want to get in that center, but if it gets on your Gorgeous Grape, it's just going to highlight that a little bit, which is fine. So if you can see how I'm doing that, just rubbing that in the center. And the chalk is absorbing into the papers, even without the Versamark on there. And it'll stay right there. Okay? So that's how you do that part. And I want to just clean that just a little bit more. You know, and that's all personal preference. I just get a little picky about some of that, so I do that. If your hands get real dirty, just use you a baby wipe or a paper towel and you'll be good. So now what I'm going to do is take my leaf stamp, and I'm going to use my Versamark again, and I'm going to stamp me some leaves. So let's, and you want to kind of remember where you put your leaves when you do this, or do just a couple at a time if you want to. I'm going to put 3 at these openings, and then I think I'm going to put one back here with this little opening. There we go. So now I'm going to take my green, what would be my green dauber, and I'm going to dab in the green. I'm just going to dab that flower out so I can see it. And I'm going to come over to the next one. And if you've stamped a long time, you might have done this with regular chalks, which is fine to use. I mean, I'm using our new Soft Pastels to show you how stick form chalks can be used. But, you know, if you stamped a long time ago and you had different chalks, that would work great too. So now I'm going to take that, and I have some leaves. Let's just move all this around. There we go. That's the only one that got kind of messy, I think. So there we go. That's basically our card. And just get rid of my dust a little bit. And I can always use that. Here's where I used where you could scribble on that, or you know, you can just make your chalk dust out of by scraping it with something, and the pick tool works great for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, and I already cut it out, and this is from the contour dies, which are back in stock and they can be ordered. and I stamped, or I cut out this little die here, and I cut out a piece of white cardstock. Now let me say that this cardstock here is, and I cut them at odd sizes. I didn't plan on that as much, but I did. This is 5 by 3 3/4, but the mat size is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. That will be matting that on in a minute. This is 7/8 by 1 7/8, and here's what I'm going to do with this little guy. Is I'm going to take, I have a little bitty flower that's in that stamp set, and I'm going to take the Versamark again, and I'm going to, whoops, I had hold of that. I'm going to stamp 2 little flowers on there, and then I'm going to take my little marker, or my little dauber, and I'm going to see if I got enough, as usually you do. And there's my 2 little flowers kind of dabbed on there. They look good. And I'm going to take my Hello with my Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp it right to the side of that. And there we go. We have that stamped. Now all I have to do is just glue it onto there. One of my glues over here is about empty. I don't want to pull that one out. It would be here all night gluing. So I'm just going to run a little bit of glue down the center of that. I'm not going to use much. I don't want it to gush out all over. And I'm just going to lay that in the center there and glue it. Turn it over. I like to turn everything over and just rub it so I know that that glue is adhered to both pieces of the cardstock so that it won't go anywhere. And I'm going to take a piece of, now here's the good thing about this. This is Gorgeous Grape chalk, and I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape as far as my background piece. But this is Highland Heather ribbon, and look how beautiful that goes with all of that. So you, even if it's got a different name, don't worry about it. You can use it. It works out great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm going to cut me a piece of ribbon. Well, actually, no, I'm not. Let's back up just one step. I'm going to take and mat this onto my little piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock. And then I'm going to put my ribbon on. It'll give it more stability that way. And I just made it to where it had an 1/8 inch border around it. I didn't want it to be real showy. I just wanted to give it a little bit of color there. So now we are going to take and cut this ribbon. And I just cut it longer because I like to have it long to go back here. And I am going to use, if I can find it, my Stampin' Seal. Well, couldn't feel the glue on it. And I knew it had to have some. Oof, look, I did that the other day too. How crazy. Let's just do one end, and then I'll hold it up and do the other end, so we can get it somewhat straight. And there we go. Looks good to me. So there we have that. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to take another piece of ribbon. It don't have to be 5-6 inches, something like that. And I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to tie it just in a knot. I'm not doing anything real fancy. When I tie that knot, I always get it too tight, but that's Actually, I might just leave it tied like that. I don't know. I want to tie a knot. Because I'm afraid that will come untied. And I don't want that to happen. I almost didn't cut this wider ribbon long enough. Geez. Or I got nimble fingers. Of course, I'm doing this. It's going on 10 o'clock tonight, I think. It's 9:30. I had a busy day today. So, there we go. I had pop dots here or glue dots the other day, and you know, I still have not found my glue dots on this table. So let's just take that, put it in the can. I am going to, oh, here they are. Never mind, I did find them. See, that's good. That's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these glue dots with my little, I have a little piercing tool thing that I've had forever and ever, so I still use it, and I'm going to put that in under my ribbon to hold that down again, since, and don't ask me why these glue dots are on this side of the paper. I have no idea. That's how they came. I think they stuck them on there backwards or something. Okay, there is that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it up with dimensionals. And I have a little thing of dimensionals that was left from my paper pumpkin kit that I did. So I thought, we'll just use those up. I don't waste this kind of stuff because I use it too much. So we are going to take this and we're going to just stick it right here. And that'll be held up on our card. Now we'll go ahead and put this on our card base. So all we have to do is glue that. And we will embellish it, not embellishment. We will embellish it in just a second. So there we go with that. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to bring in the inside of my card, and therefore I'm going to bring in this little stamp here. And that is also in that same Blossoms and Blooms set. And I'm just going to stamp a flower right here. I'm going to take that same dauber and since I only want a little bit more color, I'm just going to pounce it on that and see if I picked up some color. Because I don't want it real there. Just nice little color to that. And then I have a leaf. And we will go ahead and put a leaf here. And a leaf up here. Like that. It's hard to see where you're going with this stuff when it's like that. Let's take the green. Dab us some green on there, and then we'll take a little bit of yellow and do the inside. And that is the inside of our card. So let's go ahead and put that on in here. I always like to make my inside of my card kind of go with the outside. It's kind of pulling the two pieces together, and I like that idea. For years and years and years, I never put white cardstock into the inside of my cards. And now, I just about don't ever like not to do it. I like to have that in there so that everybody can see that. It looks like I almost cut this piece too big. But it's going to fit. We're going to get it in there one way or another. There we go. So we have the inside done. We have the outside done. Now let's add just a few jewels to make it kind of pop. Because I like to add jewels or ribbon or both. You know, just whatever comes about. Take my pick tool that's got my little end. And I'm going to put 2 on these little flowers that we did right here. And then I'm going to take and do 3 of them on my card. And there we go. That's our finished card. It's really easy to do. It's easy with the chalks and all that. So that is done. Excuse me. So that is done. Here's the one I had done, and here's the one we did tonight. So there they are. A little bit different. The color came out a little bit different. It all depends on how you rub on all that and what you get. Let's clean this up for just 1 second because it drives me crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, because I already had paper cut to do the bigger card that I showed you wherever it went, right here. So I'm going to use actually the exact same way I kind of did this, but we're going to use different flowers. I might leave that there because I think I'll be stamping off with this. And I'm going to be using my black. And this is just cut 5 1/4 by 4. Making sure I only had 1 piece. Felt like 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that there. We're going to stamp in black. So, and you know, with my linen pad, I can just rub, which I really like to do with my black. And I'm going to take this, and I think I'm going to put over here. I'm going to put this up here. And then I'm going to do it again. And I think we're going to put it right here. Okay. And for the inside of the card, let's do one for the inside while we're stamping in black. And what I'll do with that is we'll ink up just this top part of the stamp. And we'll just put this down in this little corner. There we go. So we have all of that. So I'm going to let that dry for a second, and what I'm going to do, because I'm still going to use this and my thing. So my cardstock's 5 1/4 by 4 here, and then these little pieces are, looking at the wrong one. Okay. This one is 7/8 by 3 inch, and then the Mossy Meadow is 1 inch by 3 1/4. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm waiting for that to dry a minute to color, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp my saying, and I'm still going to use Best Day Ever, because you can use Best Day Ever and make it a birthday card, a thank you card, any kind of card just about, you know, that is kind of uplifting to send out. So has a lot of use to it. So we're just going to, and we're going to stamp it over here all the way to one side. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to take my little scissors here, my paper snips, and I'm just going to cut a line up here, and then I'm going to come in from each corner and make a tag, like so. And what I'll do with this is I'll take it and I'll go ahead and glue it onto my piece of Mossy Meadow, which is a color I haven't used in a good while. But since the chalk is in Mossy Meadow, then it's kind of like, okay, we'll use Mossy Meadow. I'm not opposed to any color, really. I like them all. And there again, I have that on, and I want to make sure it stays there. I want to like burnish it on from the back. And then what I'll do is I will take, and right where that is, I'm going to take this up a little bit. And I'm going to come from my sides. And make me a little banner tag. Okay, so that when we are done, we'll go down here somewhere on my card. Okay, so we can get started in coloring, and like I said, I am going to use the watercolor pen. Now you can use a blender pen. I had one out here, I do believe, but mine, they dry up really quick on the chalk, so you have to be careful, but they blend beautifully. Let me do, here I'll do one of the leaves with the blender pen. So what you're going to do here is I'm going to get some stuff out of my way is what I'm going to do. We got too much out in here. I'm going to set this in here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this green and I'm just going to rub it on the chalk, and then I'm just going to I'll do the leaves with the blender pen. I'm going to do those. We're just going to add some color with this dark. This is Mossy Meadow, and I kind of want my leaves to be, you know, I did that in the flower. Whoops. We're going to have to switch that, but that's okay. We'll get it. That was a mistake. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just wash that out, and I'm going to come into my Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to add some color to my leaf. And that way they look like they are two different colors. Now you got to be careful you don't peel your paper with this. I'm using regular basic white cardstock. You can use the glimmer paper. You can use the glimmer paper. You could try watercolor paper. I think I like the smoother paper for this with these chalks a little better. But the blender pens are real easy. They're good to get into small areas, and that more so than the water pen. But I want to show you how these work because it is a lot of fun. So I have those done. So what I'm going to do is I want my stem to be a little, so I'm just going to run this down that black stem to give it a little bit of color. So it kind of looks like flower stems more than just a little black stem. So, and you can do whatever you want to these. I mean, these are so much fun to do. Has anybody ever used a blender pen with chalks before? It's an easy way to do all of that. So there my leaves are. Let's go ahead and do the leaves over here while we're at it. Let's add the dark, and then we'll add some light. And you can see how fast it'll go. I mean, you don't have to, and you can come back when that dries and add more chalk to it, and it will darken up or brighten up depending on what kind of color you're using. But right now we only have the 8 colors in ours. But see how that brought those stems to life like that? And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow, and I'm just going to hit it in the leaves, and it'll kind of highlight these little leaves in an area. And I tell you what I'm going to do over here, you know, where I did the leaf, the green in my flower, I'm going to take and add this yellow in here, right here. Okay, now we're going to switch over to the watercolor, because I want to show you how to do it too. Here's my watercolor pen. So I'm just going to bring it, and I'm going to make sure that I have some water, that my pen is wet. So I'm just going to puddle that right there. Make sure I got some water all. Move my card over so I don't get my card in the water, but I don't need that anymore anyway. Since I messed this flower up, because I want to do them different colors, I'm going to use, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put some yellow in here on these. And you can see how that just makes like a little watercolor. Now these will feel like chalks when they dry. They are not. That flower's going to be dark, but that's okay. I'm going to do Poppy Parade over all that, just because I think that would, I want to dry that out just a little bit, just a little bit. I don't want water running all over the place. That wouldn't be good. We're going to be covering up that little flower with something when we get done here, because he just doesn't look very pretty. That's because I added that green. So you have to be careful. Don't be like me and start going all crazy, because I do that sometimes. And see how subtle all of this is when you watercolor with them? They're really, really pretty. They give them a lot. And I'll show you how you can come back in and add color. We're going to let them dry for a minute. And I think we'll come in and let's color these with the blue. So let's go ahead and do yellow again, just because it'll make that center lighter. So we'll go ahead and get all that in there. And we'll come in with the Coastal Cabana and do some blue flowers. Come on. I'm quiet, aren't I? I get quiet when I color. So I forget about that when I'm doing videos. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be that quiet. I should be talking. Telling you guys what I'm doing and stuff. Just coloring flowers. There, I got some color. And I think for these in here, we are going to go ahead and put some yellow. Let's pull in. What if we do this blue just so, no, we better do the, since I'm using a purple card base, let's do purple. We'll do purple on the inside. And usually these colors will blend with each other. Like if you're using a purple, you could put this with Highland Heather or the Gorgeous Grape, because that's of course what color it is. You could probably even put it with Blackberry Bliss. It would probably go really well against Blackberry Bliss. That's the three purples that I was really thinking about that you could use. I hope I'm not talking too low. I have a hard time. I got to get my microphone since I tend to, my phone's up high so you guys can see all this, and then okay, there is, just add a little bit more yellow in here in a couple spots. Okay, there is our coloring on that. So let me move this, and I just want to see something real quick. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, and I think I'm going to fold, you know what, I didn't even use any bumblebee on that, so that's not good. We are going to continue on though, because I tell you what I'm going to do, I do believe, is just one little second. I got to, I know what I'll use. I use this right here. And I think I will add some, let me get my bumblebee stamp pad. I don't like to do that when I'm making a video, but sometimes, especially when you're ad-libbing on a card, I went and got my Color and Contour set, and I'm going to take this splatter, since we are just kind of doing this on our own. Let me bring this piece of scrap paper back in that we used. Open my pad. I'm going to stamp off, and then I think I'm just going to add some dots in here. Oh, I really like this. You know, sometimes mistakes are good to make because then you have to think outside the lines there and do something a little different. And that's what I did. So see how that looks? And I'm not taking it all the way up on the, and I'll just bring that one into the inside and stamp a few dots down here. And there we go. How's that? That works for quick thinking, doesn't it? So now we can continue on with our card. Let me move this stamp out of the way. I'll get stuff all over the place. Not good, not good. So let's see. I did this. Do I want to add this down here, or do I just want to put this? I could add it up there, couldn't I? I think I like it down here, actually. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and get my ribbon, and I had the gingham little ribbon out. That's Bumblebee gingham ribbon. And I'm going to add that right here and see if I can mess this up again like I did the last one. Let's do this side first. Maybe I won't be so tend to pull it across the there we go. So now what we're going to do with this is because I'm not matting it on anything, we are just going to add it to the card. So I'll just turn that over, and then we'll take this, and this is going to, I'm going to, I got so many stamps out here, my goodness. Clean up my mess. I'm going to go ahead and stick this in under here to kind of hold that ribbon down. This is going to be put over it, and we are going to just glue this on because I'm going to put a bow next to it, and I don't want it sticking up. So what I'm going to do is not take it all the way to the end. I'm just going to take it to about right here. And look, I covered up some of that flour so that it wouldn't look so bad. So there again, I want that to adhere to that ribbon really good and dry. And I'm going to take my ribbon, and I do not usually tie a bow on the spool because I don't know why. I just don't. But I'm going to today because I keep wasting my ribbons. And I've been using a lot of ribbon lately. I don't know what it is. If I'm like on a ribbon kick, do y'all ever do that? Just get on a ribbon kick or whatever, and there we go. That looks good enough. I'll just go ahead and trim that up. And I'm going to take a couple of glue dots. 2 of them is what I usually do. But I just think it makes it a little bit whiter there. And we're going to Get it off of my finger. And stick it right here at this edge. And let me go ahead. I think I want to trim it a little bit shorter just so it's easier to get into an envelope. As I try to think about those things. Now let me go ahead and put this in my inside. Oh goodness. Glue. So anyway, when you watercolor with these chalks, they're going to set in with that water. You're not going to have to do anything to them. Once they're dry and you run your fingers over that, it's going to feel like chalk. It's not going to feel like a watercolor or anything like that. It'll feel like chalk. So I want you to be able to know that and keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and add some jewels to this one just to kind of spruce it up a little bit. And I want to see what we might want to add. If those would look good. No, I don't like those. Let's just use these. I always go back to just the rhinestone ones, and I don't know why. I just am very much like to use them, I guess. So let's go ahead and we'll put a few on the card and just kind of spruce up what we've done. And there we go. In fact, I don't like that one there. Let's pull that one back up if we can. I think I would like it down here more. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We have our card made. Different card than what this is. I love this one with the Daisy Garden background stamp, but it's a lot of coloring, let me tell you. You spend a little time doing that one, but I really, really like it. I like this one too. I think that one looks really pretty. So we could make some quick cards, and then we did the inside like this. This one I took the Daisy Lane little daisy and put inside. So that is the cards that I made. This is with your pastels and the Stampin' Up pastels. It's $9 for the box. You get 8 of them. They last forever and ever. I will say, if you have other kind of chalks that you've used in the past, you know, that you've put away and had for years and forgot about them, you can get those out and basically do the same thing. You just have to scrape dust if you're wanting to use the dust like I did on the Poppin' Pastels. You know, there's a lot of different ways to color with them. Like I said, you got the blender pen, you've got the watercoloring pen, you can do the Poppin' Pastels with the Versamark. There's a lot of different ways you can also do that, and I may be coming back with some more ideas for you. But right now, this is all I have, so I'm going to be letting you guys go. And I've probably kept you long enough, and I will talk to you all later. And you have a great day or night, depending on what time you're watching this. Bye.